25 million people live in a nation where choosing your own haircut is illegal, where collapsing from hunger during military training isn't. Tragedy, it's treason. Today, you'll hear from 7 North Korean Special Forces soldiers who crossed the world's deadliest border for something we never think twice about the right to eat. This is their story of courage, betrayal, and a single photograph that shattered everything they were taught to believe. If these stories matter to you, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Your support helps us bring these untold stories to light. Together, we can be a voice for those who cannot speak. Hamgyong Province, Onsong, North Korea, the northernmost edge of the border. Our unit was called the Frontline of National Defense. Special Forces, elite troops. Those labels hung over us. But the reality? We were closer to construction workers than soldiers. The wake-up bugle blew at 6 a.m. Soldiers crawled out of the barracks. We washed our faces with ice-cold well water. Soap? Hadn't seen any in 3 months. At morning assembly, the company commander repeated the same speech every day: party orders, the supreme leader's teachings, revolutionary duty. We stood at attention, listening. Hunger gnawed at us, but we couldn't show it. 10 years in the military, and I'd never been this starved. Rations stopped coming 4 months ago. First it was every other day, then every 3 days. Now nothing. What we got instead was construction labor, road repairs near the base, shovels and pickaxes. This wasn't Special Forces training, it was manual labor. The political officers said even this was training, that revolutionary. Soldiers could handle anything. So we grabbed our shovels and hauled stones. Our backs felt ready to snap, but there was no stopping. Lunch was grass porridge, a few spoonfuls of corn flour boiled with water. If it showed up at all, we were lucky. Some days, all we got was a bowl of salt water. The soldiers took whatever came, silent. Complaining meant you were reactionary. Everyone knew what happened to reactionaries. A soldier in the next company complained about rations once. He vanished the next day. At 4 p.m., work ended. We returned to wait for dinner. Dinner was grass porridge too. If a chunk of potato floated in it, that was a good day. Back in the barracks, lying on our bunks, we stared at the ceiling. The hunger had become familiar, but it never left. My stomach felt like it was collapsing in on itself. Lights out at 10 p.m. In the darkness, I heard my comrades breathing. Someone muttered about food in their sleep. Someone else cried quietly. I thought about home, my mother's cornbread. That memory was all I had left now. My wife and young daughter were back there. My daughter turned 6 this year. When was the last time I saw her? We were soldiers defending the homeland, elite special forces. But the reality was different. Hunger scared us more than guns. Tomorrow terrified us more than the enemy. We were strong on the training ground, but in the mess hall, we were the weakest. Was this the life we wanted? That day ended like all the others. Tomorrow would be the same. So would the day after, and the month after that. The thought crossed my mind, we can't keep living like this. But I couldn't say it out loud, even thinking it was dangerous. In the darkness, I asked myself, why do we have to starve like this? There was no answer. Only silence filled the barracks. Summer combat training began. Over 95 degrees Fahrenheit, sweltering heat. We climbed mountains in full gear. 1 canteen per person, not even half full. 2 hours in, the youngest guy, Kim Chul-soo, collapsed. 23 years old. Always had weak stamina. Hard to survive on grass porridge alone. We stopped training and dragged him into the shade. Called for a medic, no one came. The base had no medicine, no IV drips. The company commander ran over. Saw Chul-soo on the ground, his face twisted. Not with concern, with rage. He grabbed Chul-soo by the collar and yanked him upright. Chul-soo couldn't even stand. The commander shouted, "Is this what a revolutionary soldier looks like? You think you can defend the country like this?" That's when it started. Group beating. The commander threw the first punch. The political officer kicked. Other officers joined in. We could only watch. If we tried to stop it, we'd get beaten too. Chul-soo couldn't even groan. He just took it. The beating went on for over 10 minutes. Chul-soo lay motionless on the ground. The commander turned to us and said, "Weakness is treason. Collapsing is betrayal." We kept our heads down. No one objected. By evening, Chul-soo hadn't regained consciousness. His breathing turned shallow. His lips turned blue. We called for the medic again, nothing. At 10 p.m., Chul-soo stopped breathing. 23 years old. Never saw his parents again. The next morning, at assembly, the commander made an announcement. Comrade Kim Chul-soo died heroically while carrying out revolutionary duty. A hero, he said. His death was honorable. We stood at attention, listening. Rage boiled inside, but we couldn't change our expressions. Chul-Soo's body was dumped somewhere in the hills behind the base. His family back home never got a call. No incident report. He just disappeared without a trace. The Security Bureau called us in for questioning. We all said the same thing: he collapsed during training. The officers did their best. We knew what would happen if we said anything else. That night in the barracks, I realized something. The enemy we should fear wasn't south of the border. It was the officers standing right beside us. More terrifying than bullets was power itself. Standing helpless in front of our comrade's death, that's what broke us. Staring at Chul-Soo's empty bunk, I understood. In this place, people can't even die like human beings. Next time, it could be me. No, it would be all of us, eventually. That's when the cracks started forming inside. 10 years of belief began to crumble. Were we really defending the homeland? Or were we just abandoned? Night guard duty rolled around again. 2 weeks since Chul-Soo died, but the base moved on like nothing happened. Only we carried that memory. My turn came that night. 2-hour shift at the checkpoint near the fence. Around 60 degrees, a cool autumn night. 1 flashlight and a rusted rifle. 5 rounds of ammunition, corroded. In the grass near the checkpoint, I spotted something pale. Got closer, it was paper. A leaflet from the south, soaked and crumpled. My pulse jumped. If you found one of these, you had to report it immediately. Not reporting it was punishable too. I shined my flashlight on it. A photo caught my eye: an ordinary kitchen table. A bowl of ramen with an egg on top. Kimchi and pickled radish on the side. So simple. But for me, it was shocking. Ramen. We hadn't seen ramen in over 10 years. Eggs? We got one on holidays, if we were lucky. But in this photo, they sat on the table like an everyday meal. And there was kimchi, too. We couldn't even get grass porridge consistently. I pocketed the leaflet. Didn't report it. Dangerous choice, but I had no other option. I wanted to show this to the others. When my shift ended, I headed back to the barracks. Late that night, I quietly woke 4 comrades. We slipped out behind the barracks and unfolded the leaflet. Under the flashlight beam, we all stared at that photo. No one spoke. We just looked at each other in silence. The squad leader broke the quiet. "Is that real?" I said I didn't know. But the photo was clear. It didn't look doctored. Our whole lives, we'd been taught. The South was hell people starving in the streets. But this photo told a different story. One comrade said, "A place where an egg can just sit there on a meal like that. We could barely get a few eggs a year." Another comrade swallowed hard, looking at the ramen. "When did you last have it?" "Before enlisting," he said. 15 years ago. We burned the leaflet. Couldn't leave evidence, but the image stayed in our heads. That night, lying on my bunk, sleep wouldn't come. The table kept appearing in my mind. The world we knew wasn't the whole picture. Beyond the fence, there was another life. A place where ramen and an egg were just normal. Was that really hell? Or was this place hell? After that, something shifted. When my comrades and I made eye contact, I could tell we were all thinking the same thing. We didn't say it, but we all knew this wasn't the end. One leaflet cracked us open. A single piece of paper shook 10 years of belief. 3 weeks passed since we saw the leaflet. We didn't talk about it, but we all knew what the others were thinking. One night after lights out, about an hour later, the squad leader quietly woke us. He signaled to go outside. 6 of us slipped out silently. Behind the supply shed, the squad leader spoke first. "Can we keep living like this?" No one answered. We didn't need to, we all knew. He kept talking. "We can't die like Chul-Soo. We can't grow old eating grass porridge." One comrade asked, "Where would we even go?" The Chinese border was completely sealed. Surveillance tightened in 2025. Cameras at every fence, patrols every 30 minutes. And there were 7 of us. One person crossing into China was hard enough, 7 was impossible. The squad leader said, "South. We go south." The place we'd trained to infiltrate for 10 years, the DMZ. Everyone went quiet. It was a minefield. Fences, searchlights, guard posts. But we knew that route better than anyone. We'd memorized the mine locations. We knew the searchlight angles. Patrol schedules were in our heads. We'd done infiltration training hundreds of times. Ironically, the path of death was our only path to survival. Another comrade asked, "What about our families?" I'd left behind a wife and daughter. The squad leader had parents back home. The others had families too. But the answer was clear. If we stayed, we'd end up like Chulsu. That night, we decided. This wasn't desertion, we said. It was a choice. A choice to survive. A choice to live like human beings. We believed we could bring our families out someday. That was our hope. We started planning. The rainy season would be best, but it was September, long over. So we'd wait for rain. Rain made patrols sloppy, cameras useless. We decided what to bring. Minimal food, a handful of corn, and a canteen. No map needed. Everything was in our heads. No weapons either. When we reached the south, we'd surrender. One last promise, we leave no one behind. All of us go together. If we die, we die together. We'd been comrades for 10 years. We were family. Back in the barracks, lying down, I couldn't sleep. Thought about home. My daughter's face appeared. Sorry, I whispered to myself. Dad has to survive. I'll see you again, I swear. That night, we crossed a line we could never uncross. Now, there was only forward. We waited for rain. A week passed. 2 weeks. Mid-October, the forecast finally called for storms. That was the night. During the day, we made final preparations. On the surface, everything looked normal. Assembly, labor, grass porridge. But mentally, we ran through the route over and over. Mine locations, fence gaps, guard post positions. We'd memorized it all for 10 years. Around 4 p.m., rain started falling. Light at first, then heavier. By evening, it was pouring. Wind picked up, too. Felt like the sky was helping. Dinner finished. Back to the barracks. We acted normal, talked with comrades, lay on our bunks. Lights out at 10 p.m. Darkness. We waited an hour. At 11 p.m., the squad leader quietly stood. We got up one by one, soundless. Gathered our clothes, stuffed corn in our pockets. Grabbed canteens. Carefully opened the barracks door. Pitch black outside. Rain pounded down. Perfect. In this weather, patrols couldn't see clearly. We moved in single file. Slipped out behind the base. We knew about a gap under the wire. Fence a spot where rabbits used to pass through. One by one, we crawled under. Clothes tore, skin scraped. We didn't care. We climbed into the mountains. Steep trail, but we knew it well. Trained on this path hundreds of times. An hour later, we reached the first ridge. Looked back. The base lights flickered faintly. No turning back now. We kept walking. Only our breathing in the rain. No one spoke. No map needed. The squad leader led, we followed. We knew this route better than anyone. Around 2 a.m., we saw lights in the distance. A DMZ checkpoint our side. My heart pounded. Past that post was the minefield. And beyond that, the south. We stopped. The squad leader used hand signals to confirm the route. We all nodded. Mine locations memorized. Angles where the searchlight wouldn't catch us calculated. Timing for the sweeping beam accounted for. We started circling the checkpoint. Moved crawling, silent. Every step careful. The rain covered our sounds. Took about 30 minutes. We cleared the post completely. Now ahead of us lay the minefield. Hundreds of mines buried beneath. One wrong step, and it was over. But we knew the path. Trained for 10 years on this ground. The squad leader took point. We followed his footsteps exactly. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Held our breath. The ground was wet. Nearly slipped once, but held on. Halfway through the minefield, the youngest guy slipped. Everyone froze. He sat on the ground, couldn't stand. The squad leader turned around. The kid shook his head. Go, he signaled. But the squad leader waited. The youngest sat on the ground, unable to stand. His leg had given out from fear. One wrong step could trigger a mine. He waved us on. Go ahead, he signaled. I'm fine. The squad leader didn't move. Neither did we. Rain kept falling. Our clothes soaked through. Cold. But that wasn't the problem. We couldn't leave him. The squad leader slowly retraced his steps, followed his exact footprints back, reached the kid and held out his hand. The kid shook his head again. Too dangerous, he seemed to say. I'll come alone. But the squad leader grabbed his hand anyway, lifted him up slowly. The kid was trembling. The squad leader patted his shoulder. It's okay. We go together. We'd made a promise, leave no one behind. We started moving again. The kid followed the squad leader carefully. We trailed behind, cautious. Each step felt like eternity. Finally, we cleared the minefield completely. Everyone exhaled. But it wasn't over. The fence remained. Our side's fence. And beyond that, the south's fence. Around 3 a.m., we had to cross before dawn. We reached the fence, about 10 feet high. Layers of barbed wire. We'd climbed this fence dozens of times in training, but this was different. Training versus escape. One by one we climbed. No gloves, bare hands on barbed wire. Skin tore, but we pushed through. Blood ran down our palms. 1 over, 2 over, 3 over. The youngest's turn came. He hesitated. The squad leader gave him a push from below. The kid grabbed the wire and started climbing. Halfway up, he almost lost his grip. We caught him from below. He barely made it over. Finally, the squad leader climbed. We all turned south and started walking. No going back now. The moment we crossed that fence, we became deserters. If caught, execution. We walked for about an hour. Lights appeared in the distance. A South Korean checkpoint. We stopped. My heart raced. Beyond those lights was South Korea, the world from the leaflet. Then we heard it barking. Pursuit dogs. They'd discovered we were gone. Lights appeared. Flashlights. Getting closer. The squad leader gestured run. We bolted south. Breath came hard, but we couldn't stop. Shouting from behind, halt! We kept running. Gunshots. Couldn't tell if they were warning shots or live rounds. We didn't stop. The South Korean post got closer. 300 feet. 150. 60. Suddenly, a searchlight blazed on. From the South Korean post. They'd spotted us. Blinding. Couldn't see ahead. We froze. A loudspeaker crackled, "Don't move." Hands up. We raised both hands high. Dropped to our knees. Behind us, the pursuit team closing in. Ahead, South Korean soldiers aiming rifles at us. We were caught in the middle. Life or death unknown. The squad leader shouted at the top of his lungs, "Don't shoot! We're North Korean military! We defected!" That moment felt like the longest of my life. The searchlight beam hit us. Couldn't open our eyes, too bright. We knelt with both hands raised high. Behind, pursuit team footsteps. Ahead, the metallic click of rifles being loaded. The squad leader shouted again, "We're North Korean military! We defected! Don't shoot!" His voice went hoarse. We joined in. "Don't shoot! We surrender! No weapons!" The South Korean loudspeaker crackled again. "Stand up slowly. Keep your hands raised." We stood shakily, legs wobbling. Terror. One wrong shot, and it was over. Behind us, the pursuit team shouted, "Stop! Come back!" But we kept walking forward, toward the south. Slow, deliberate steps. Didn't look back. Going back meant death. Gunfire erupted behind us. Warning shot or live round, couldn't tell. We didn't stop. Kept moving forward, hands still raised. South Korean soldiers emerged from the post. 5 of them, maybe, all rifles aimed at us. They looked tense, too, trying to figure out if we were enemy or ally. About 150 feet out, one South Korean soldier stepped forward. "Second lieutenant, by his rank." He shouted without the loudspeaker, "Stop there! Get on the ground!" We dropped immediately, faces pressed into the dirt. Hands clasped behind our heads. Complete surrender. No one moved, only breathing. Footsteps approached. South Korean soldiers. Getting closer. Someone planted a boot on my back. "Don't move." Same with the others. Body search began. Pockets turned out. Handful of corn and a canteen, that's all. No weapons. They checked IDs. Military IDs. North Korean People's Army. The lieutenant asked, "Really defecting?" The squad leader answered, "Yes. Special Forces unit. All 7 surrendering." The lieutenant paused. Assessing. Radio chatter. The lieutenant reporting to command 7 North Korean soldiers defected. Unarmed. Awaiting orders. Response came, "Secure them." Plastic zip ties went on. Wrists hurt, but we bore it. They lifted us one by one. We stood unsteadily. Legs that had walked and run all night barely held. Walked toward the post. South Korean soldiers flanked us. Rifles still pointed our way. They hadn't relaxed, didn't fully trust us yet. Inside the post. Fluorescent lights, blinding. We leaned against the wall and sat. For the first time, relief. We made it. Looked back. Beyond the fence darkness. The north? Where we'd lived. Where we could never return. The squad leader spoke, "You all did well." We nodded. Someone cried. Someone laughed. Relief at being alive. That dawn, we went from soldiers to defectors. From armed warriors to surrendering refugees. But we had no regrets. We chose this. And the choice was right. The sun rose. Southern sky brightened. Watching that morning light, we felt it a new life had begun. Basic questioning started at the post. Name, age, unit, rank. We answered one by one. Voices shaking. Still tense. Hard to believe we'd actually survived. An hour later, the investigating officer asked, "Hungry?" We nodded. Truth was, we hadn't eaten properly in over 2 days. Not since leaving the base. The officer spoke into his radio. 10 minutes later, soldiers brought in meal trays, set one in front of each of us. White rice, stir-fried pork, spinach, seaweed, soybean paste stew, and a fried egg. 2 kinds of kimchi. No one moved. We just stared at the trays. The youngest whispered, "This is military food?" The squad leader's hand trembled as he picked up his spoon, scooped white rice, added pork on top, put it in his mouth. We followed. Ate the pork, the vegetables, the fried egg. Meat melted on my tongue. Egg yolk burst. Someone sobbed. Ate while crying. All of us cried. The officers watched, silent. They understood how starved we'd been. We finished everything in under 10 minutes. The first real meal of our lives. Days later, they moved us to Seoul. Interrogations. National Intelligence Service. Detailed questions followed unit location, troop strength, weapons, training. We told them everything. No reason to hide. A month passed. We went to Hanawon, the resettlement facility for defectors. Spent 3 months there learning South Korean society. Even speech patterns were different. Formal language, informal language, dialects. Awkward at first. First time at a convenience store, unforgettable. Open 24 hours. Shelves packed. Dozens of ramen varieties alone. Eggs sold by the dozen. We stood there forever, just looking. First time using the internet, too. Searched for North Korean news. Looked up our unit. Found an article, deserter warrant issued. Thought of family. Wife, daughter, parents. Sorry. A year passed. We've all gone separate ways now. One comrade works at a factory. Another's in school. The squad leader works at a restaurant. I'm on a construction site. We meet sometimes. Once a month. Eat together. Grill pork belly or order chicken. Felt strange at first. Could we really eat this much? Now it's normal. Miss the families we left behind. Will we ever see them again? Will reunification let me go home? I don't know. But there's hope. I believe it's possible someday. Now I understand what freedom means. Not starving. Not getting beaten. Being able to speak. Being able to choose. That's what we came for. Risked our lives for it. No regrets. It's hard, but we're happy. Not hungry anymore. Not afraid anymore. We can look forward to tomorrow. A place where an egg is ordinary. Where ramen is just another meal. This was the world we were searching for. Thank you for listening to our story. Subscribing and liking really helps us. I hope more people learn about North Korea's reality and how precious freedom truly is. Thank you.